So today, guys, we're talking about applying color samples at your house because a lot of you like to do your own color samples, which is great. You can see at our shop, we keep a bunch of color samples left over so that we can recycle them instead of throwing them away. One of the problems that we run into as painters when we get to your house is sometimes because you guys have not been painting for 10 years, the color samples aren't smooth. They have a lot of texture to them. And when we paint over them, your work of applying the color samples will show through, if you know what I mean. So what I've got today is I've got a really crummy, like $1 disposable brush. And if I were just to dip the brush in the color sample a little bit and slap some paint on the wall, having some fun here, I can do a good job of getting the color sample up on the wall. And typically when you're doing color samples, you want to get about at least a 12 by 12 square so you can really see the color. But if you look closely here, if you zoom in with the camera, these brushes do not smooth out the paint very well. And what happens is you get all of these brush marks here. And when we go to paint afterwards, those brush marks will show through again. One thing that we offer to do sometimes for folks is we offer to sand this down a little bit, but because this is not real paint, it's just a color sample paint, it ends up being really soft and it's hard to sand. So what we prefer that you do is take a little extra time when you're doing the color sample and try to feather it out with the brush just a little bit more if you can. And I know that that takes some more paint off, and so you might have to do 2 coats of the color sample, but if you can take a little bit more time, even if you don't have a really good brush, you can still make it a lot more smooth as you're painting. And so you can see there's not quite as many brush strokes now, and if I were to paint over this, my brush strokes would mostly disappear. But an alternate thing that you guys can do is you can buy some small mini disposable rollers, and then you can just leave a nice light roller finish as well. So again, putting it on nice and light and smooth, you'll probably have to do 2 coats if there's a color change like there is now. But now I actually have a nice smooth roller nap instead of brush marks, and that works great every time. So you have an option to put a little bit more work into your brush works, or you can just grab a disposable roller and hit it that way.